boom, boom. Okay. Okay. This is Bridges for Music. Shaun Duvet from the unit and many other entertainment companies visited Bridges Academy in Langa, Cape Town. During his talk, he passionately shared his journey from when he began working in the family business all the way to becoming a world-recognized promoter, responsible for Ultra Music Festival in South Africa. This talk was recorded live at the Bridges Academy during one of his lectures, where Shaun talks to the students about event promotion, bringing Ultra Music Festival to South Africa, and much more. Please enjoy this inspiring lecture by Shaun Duvet.
Well, I've been asked to come and talk about the wonderful world of promoting, and what it's all about, and be it from events and festivals and all of that good stuff, Obviously, pre-COVID, it was a different world and a very different business to be in to what it is today. But I think, for me, all I can give you is my story, guys. You know what I mean? It's all I've got, and hopefully it can inspire you, and I'm sure you all will inspire me, and hopefully we can inspire each other, and we can all grow and do wonderful things together in the future, I was born in Johannesburg, in Hillbrow, many years ago, 40 years ago, and, came from, a kind of, loving family, basic background, not any kind of like real money or any kind of finances or anything like that behind us. We grew up cool, we were happy, kind of life, but, no real money behind us or anything like that. And anyway, grew up in Johannesburg, and then I was about like 15 or 16 years old. 15 years old, my father, he, back in the day, used to love collecting music. And in fact, like, he's from Germany, my grandmother, his mother actually had like a bar growing up, and then he took over the bar. So it's kind of like music was always like kind of like in our blood, so to speak, and he loved collecting records and loved collecting music, and growing up we had this old school turntable in the house, and like all of his like cool Motown and funk and soul and disco and rock and roll records, and I just used to like play these records and like listen to the music, and then then I kind of started learning how to record from like a tape deck to a record, and then started making like mixtapes as a DJ, and that was about 15 years old. And at that point is when dance music kind of like really started exploding. And I guess at the age of like 14, 15 years old, your mind is quite curious, because you passed that like teen stage and you're starting to see what the rest of the world has to offer. Well, at least it did for me at that point. And I fell in love with music, and I loved the idea of like mixing music together. And as I obviously started getting deeper into that, started realizing, okay, well, that's what the DJ does, right? That's what it's all about, And funnily enough, I mean, if I even go further back than that, it was an interesting story that, I was much younger, and I remember one of the teachers putting up, asking the kids in the class, what do you want to be when you're older? And I put up my hand and I said, I want to be a DJ. Not even really knowing what it was all about, but I just liked the idea of the guy on the radio driving to school, playing cool music, and, like the idea of like bringing people together through music, And anyway, kind of fast forward a few years later, collecting records, I kind of saved up enough money to go buy my own turntables, and started collecting music and started listening to the music and understanding it, And there was a nightclub up the road. This is about 16, 17 years old in Johannesburg called called 206 on Louis Botha. And, started sneaking into the club, seeing what it's all about, started getting like more of a feeling, and just loved the idea of the energy and the excitement that obviously the DJ was bringing, the parties, the music, the culture, the scene, And I went to the owner of the club and I said, listen, I want to come DJ here, man. This is amazing, And long story short, he kind of gave me a slot in the back little bar there, it could hold about 20 people. And I started playing music and bringing my friends there and started building up a community, You start bringing your friends, you start getting a following, like any like party or club night, And that started developing more and more. And at that point, I started to get more interested and excited into the business of putting parties together, So it's not just the DJ. It's like, then, how are you going to promote? How are you going to bring people there? How are you going to tell people about your party? How are you going to market this to your people? All of these things. And didn't have any kind of book. There wasn't any fancy lectures like this to get it. It was figuring it all as I went along, and listening and trusting your gut and following your passion. That's really what it was all about. I then started doing more and more of these club nights, and the club nights got bigger, which was great. At that point, I lived in London for a year or so, and got into like pirate radio. Now in London, pirate radio stations, it's like an illegal radio station. It's illegal frequencies where like crews get together. It was very cool, and it still goes on now. And they basically find like the illegal frequencies. And you go in there and like you kind of like play your music and then you promote it out there. So I did that for a year, and like also just DJ'd around in the bars and the clubs and crafted my skill and my set as a DJ, Fast forward a couple of years, I did a little bit of marketing, and that's again combined with the music became what I guess could be the base of promoting, and bringing people to places at the end of the day and promoting club nights. I then came and I moved back to Cape Town. I moved to Cape Town from Johannesburg, and I started DJing at the local clubs and bars over here. There was Caprice in Camps Bay, there was Deluxe at the time, and just playing like cool house music and like and just developing my name and all of that stuff. At the same time, I opened up Anything Goes, which is a creative agency, a graphic design, marketing agency, And at that point, I started seeing how important the liquor brands were, specifically because they wanted to communicate, obviously, with the market, the people that were coming to the clubs and the bars. They wanted to speak to that market. And how did we do that? And by understanding the inside out of those clubs and the parties and the music and like the DJs and the producers that people wanted to know, I almost had that one step ahead of what other marketing agencies didn't have. You know what I mean? Because other guys could come in and just say they knew the culture, which is the key word, but they don't understand the culture. And when you can understand the culture of what like the core is all about, you can give to these big brands what they will pay millions for, because they just want that ownership and they want to be as authentic about it as possible. But you need to understand from the inside out, or at least I did, And then understanding, kind of like more and more what the brands wanted, we started doing some small campaigns with them, like sponsoring nights at the clubs, sponsoring DJs, things like that, I then opened up my first nightclub called the Bang Bang Club, we ran for, I think it was 7 years or so, 4 nights a week, and it was just focused on electronic music culture, DJs, ranging from house music to techno through to drum and bass, and it was just an amazing time, good energy, to be alive. And obviously over that period, it gave me more of an opportunity to work even closer with the liquor brands, because the liquor brands wanted to come in and do obviously more and more with the markets, so I developed good relationships, and at the same time, Anything Goes, my little advertising agency, was growing, because we got closer and closer to what the brands wanted to do. This kind of came to around 2010 when dance music exploded in the world. It was kind of there was a big globally, there was a big crossover, specifically with David Guetta at the time, when I would say he did the kind of collaboration with the Black Eyed Peas. I don't know if you guys remember that. And that was, in the world of music, that was like electronic music forging with hip hop and pop culture at the time, and that just kind of like exploded everything, and the DJs became the superstars, like the real big superstars, Before then, it was the big rock and roll bands touring the world, and the big pop acts, and now all of a sudden it was like the DJ's time to shine, And again, like from being from the inside out, I felt that energy like rise, And at that point, Deadmau5 was one of the biggest DJs in the world as well, And I teamed up with a good partner and a friend of mine, Tony Feldman. His background is theater, also entertainment, but very much like family entertainment theater. So things like, you see theater productions, that's what he did, And obviously me knowing the dance music world, it was an interesting collaboration, And I went to him and saying, listen, this is it. This is the biggest thing that's happening around the world. Deadmau5, he's one of the biggest DJs in the world. He said, Dead who? What are you talking about? There's some crazy guy in a mouse head coming to play, Anyway, worked very hard for over a year to get the deal. And that was the start of it all, And then, Dead Mouse came and we did 30,000 people around Johannesburg, Cape Town, and Durban. And then the big DJs just started touring. So at that point, we brought Swedish House Mafia, Avicii, Skrillex, Carl Cox, Hardwell, Steve Aoki, all these big names, and doing these big tours around South Africa for up to 20 to 30,000 people, which was incredible. At the same time, I was still kind of like running the clubs, and then in the middle of that period, I ended up selling the Bang Bang Club, and still kept Anything Goes, the creative agency, obviously. But there was a new kind of energy coming into the melting pot, which I was very excited about from the club side of things, This is Cape Town about 8 or 9 years ago, where I opened up Coco, my nightclub, And at the time of opening up Coco, which by the way was the same building with the Bang Bang Club was in, I was very excited about the melting pot of music. That it doesn't need to just be house music. There's hip hop, there's culture, there's urban culture, there's flavor, we got to try and it's got to be about music and people just loving music and mixing the crowds and the culture. It's possible, And at that time, people were saying to me, there's no ways you're going to be able to do this. You're either a black club or you're a white club, and you can't mix the two, But 8 years later, we're still around, And it was a very exciting time for me to develop and build and understand and learn a new kind of culture and component and be a part of that, which is very exciting. Got me access to new DJs, new cultures, new music. I learned a lot, Started really getting deep into it all, the soul candy world is very much where I come from as well. So I had a good understanding and feel for the music, So for me, it's never been about color. It's just, and it never will be, It's about the culture of music and what it does to people and brings them together. That's where my passion starts and ends, I guess, And I guess from there, the club started happening. We started doing more, which was very exciting. And the big festivals and events were getting bigger and bigger as well, which was great. So at that point, Ultra, also the South African market wanted something more than just an artist tour, not more, than just one DJ coming out. They wanted a big mix. And that time, Tomorrowland was big, or still is. Ultra was big, and all of these things around the world. And through the work that we did with the different artists, we got close to the people who were behind the scenes, the production guys, and all of these guys. And we met the people from Ultra in Miami, And the conversation came about that, look, we want to bring Ultra to South Africa. And so it continued, and here we are, kind of 8 years later. Last year was an incredible show. Unfortunately, this year didn't happen because of COVID. And, that's kind of, where things have been. Then at the same time of understanding the brands, because it's always important to know that, because that's where the money comes from, guys. It's it doesn't only come from there, but it's important. If you can tap into the brand, if you understand what the brands want, and you know how to give it to them authentically and creatively, the world is your oyster, So at the same time, Corona was coming into South Africa, the beer, not the disease, And we were talking, and what they did in Ibiza was a Corona Sunsets Festival. And I said, this is great. Let's bring this to South Africa. And so we constructed and built the Corona Sunsets Festivals at the same time as Ultra, because we had all that great knowledge of how to build a festival, how to book the artists, the talent, and market these wonderful shows, And then COVID came and wiped it all out, guys. Literally. All of my clubs, all of my festivals, the last year's been hard as hell, for everyone. But I can tell you now, in the entertainment industry where I come from, we got the biggest chop, even to this day, we're not allowed to open up clubs, we're not allowed to have mass gatherings. So it was a very, very difficult time for me, and has been. It's been a challenging period, but this is what makes us strong, and we've got to learn new tricks at the end of the day and how to do it. And you've learned a lot about patience and learned a lot about myself and who you are. I tell you an interesting point at this juncture, so to speak. There was a good friend of mine, Josh Giorgio, was Hugh Masekela's manager for many, many years, you know. And when Hugh died, and, you know, this was just after COVID kind of started, Josh went to Bra Hugh's gravestone, you know, and sat there, and a praying mantis appeared, you know. And you think a praying mantis is good luck, you know, but, you know, Josh looked deeper into the meaning of it, you know, and just literally just went to Google and said, what's the meaning of finding a praying mantis, you know? And it said, and I can't remember exactly what it is, but basically a visit from the praying mantis is a moment of peace, calmness, stillness, to go within and be passionate and take in your surroundings. And Josh saw that as a message from Bra Hugh through the animal kingdom to him, and passed that message on to me, which was just such a beautiful thing. And I take that with me from the start of COVID to where we are. And patience has been a very important process of this all, because we can start to see the light coming out now, and it's happening around the world, you know. The vaccines are going to come, guys. The rapid testing kits are going to come. We're going to get herd immunity. We're going to get back to where we were. I do believe it, you know. And even talking last night, I was on a call to my partners in Miami, and they're open for business. You know, things are happening there, given they're a more first world country, so to speak, so tests are free, things like that. But it's a glimpse into our future, guys, you know. And I think in terms of preparing ourselves to get there, it's important for us to prepare ourselves in the best way that we can possible, you know. I guess my story and my journey has taken 25 years or so to get here. And like I said, I didn't have a rule book. And I still knock my head all the time. I've had many challenges over the years, you know. But you've got to just follow your heart. You've got to follow your passion, you know. And you're going to get knocked down. And people are going to tell you, guys, like, this is not, you know, this is not easy. You're not going to do it. But you know in your heart of hearts what is right and how to do things, you know. And the reality is, if I look at myself and my own story, you've got to start from the bottom up. And you guys, just being here right now, you're already 10 steps ahead. There's no doubt about it, you know. And that's amazing, you know. And every step that you do from here, this day forth, is only going to make you into the better person of who you are into your future. And you've got to ask yourself, what is it that you want to do? Because if there's one thing, you know, I've learned in my life, at least, you know, no one has the answers except you. But you've got great people around you that are like-minded that you can work together with to build something beautiful. Does that make sense? You know? So, you know, you've just got to gravitate towards those that, you know, you want to work with. You've got to build up ideas. You've got to build up your culture. But just, you've got to follow your heart, guys. And, you know, another important thing to say is, don't chase the money, because it'll run away from you. Do you understand, guys? Because that is so key. If you chase it, and you don't go in there like with your heart first, it'll run away, you know? Again, that's my view on it, you know? You've got to come, we're in a creative space. We're creative thinkers. You know, and that needs to be number one. The money will come. The money will come, I can guarantee it. You know, but you've just got to put that energy and that like kind of love first forward. Does that make sense? Yeah, it's a crazy business, the music world, guys, and the entertainment world, you know? And especially right now with COVID, like, we're at the bottom of the barrel in terms of like getting back to life and getting things back on track, you know? But it's even more of a reason to share experiences and goals together, because when we do rise, it's the strong ones that were patient and strategic in their goals and their vision to be who they wanted to be that will rise. And let me tell you something, when it comes back, it's going to be bigger than ever, guys. I'm sure you can see it already. When it's officially allowed to have big festivals, big shows, big parties, big party nights, like, people just want it. We're social creatures at the end of the day, right? We're naturally want to be together and enjoy each other's company, no matter what government tells us to do in terms of not being together and social distancing, it'll never work because we are who we are. We naturally, want to gravitate to have a good time together, So, yeah, sorry guys, I'm talking a lot, but that's kind of me in a nutshell. I think, what COVID specifically has done to me is, with managing the challenges of the business, of which there's been a lot, obviously, there's also been exciting new things on the horizon. I've opened up a couple of new businesses as well. One is a bar training academy, so giving opportunities to new people who want to get into the bar space, So perhaps there's some opportunities that we can work together. Val and I are talking about it, and maybe we can bring that in there. We've brought out a new seltzer. A seltzer, it's a vodka, lime, and soda in a can, right? So it's a new product that's going to go up on the shelves. And a liquor distribution business, because at the end of the day, like I said, for me, liquor has always been the glue for everything that I've had to do. At the end of the day, the entertainment industry, it's very much in line with like liquor trade and marketing, So that's been my kind of like strategic play over this period, with the hope that when things do officially come back legally, it'll be a combination of everything. The clubs will be up and running, the bars, the festivals will be back on track, the DJs will be playing again, and things will be out there, and it'll all work together. I think when asking yourself as an artist or a creative or producer, DJ, whatever it is, obviously it's good to have a goal, but don't be scared to do it all. I mean, I played weddings, bar mitzvahs, whatever, man. You know what I'm saying? Little pubs in the middle of nowhere to 5 people. Like you can't always have that, that illusion. Yes, you want to get there, but you've got to earn your stripes. You've got to earn your stripes, because those are the gigs. Those are the those are the ones that like make you who you are at the end of the day. Sure. Yeah, guys. I mean, sorry, I haven't even really like run through all of this, but yeah, I mean, this is it's a couple of years old, but the entertainment entrepreneur is kind of what I like to title myself as. Festival curator, club owner, branded entertainment guy. So branded entertainment is almost a name that I've worked with for the agencies, as in brands and entertainment. And it's a big space for me that I like to work in. So the branded entertainment agency, which is Anything Goes, and the spinner of fine records. I like to play music when I can. I don't DJ that much often anymore. I play for my kids at home every now and then. But yeah, that's really it. Yeah, guys, so I mean, at this point, what would be a good thing to show, which is very exciting and nobody has seen it. So in terms of marketing, Ultra, for example, which is the biggest festival in the country, what we do is each year we come out with an after movie, right? And that after movie is the precursor to going on sale for the next year's festival, to get people pumped up. We haven't released this, and I'm going to share it with you, which no one has seen before. And that'll give you like the energy. And this is last year's 2020's like festival, which literally nobody has seen this before, which is super exciting. But I think also just to kind of like comment before I get into it, like, there's much like being in any kind of industry or business, in terms of promoting and marketing a show and festival, you've got to trust your team, you've got to be strategic, and, you've got to work closely with all the different elements of the business, No worries. Marketing, well, no worries. Marketing is obviously super important. We've got to get the tickets out there. We've got to sell the tickets. You've got to understand your numbers. You've got to understand your finances. It's one thing having a good idea, but it's another thing actually, kind of making the show work. So finances are important, You've got to know your legals, what you can and can't do, You've got to respect the law. You've got to respect your people and your punters coming in, guys. Because if, God forbid, something happens on your watch, at the end of the day, if you run a show and you do something like that, if someone drinks too much, they get into a fight, they get killed, well, it's your responsibility. So legally, you need to be well covered. Financially, you need to know what you're up against, Sponsorship is important as well, as is marketing, And then obviously the intention is to sell the tickets and just make sure that people have the best time possible that they can, you know? So I think, like, at this point, I'm going to share with you the Ultra 2020 after movie, which has not been released yet. I'm excited to hear what you think about it, because like I said, no one's seen this before. And then we'll round it off with some questions. Does that sound good to everyone? Unless you want to ask some questions now, guys? After, okay.
I think it's very interesting watching the after movie, having been at Ultra, but now watching everything else is so crazy.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
I just wanted to say I appreciate the effort. I'm a bit tall for this. I appreciate the effort that was put behind, like making sure that the movie can invite everyone in South Africa. You know, to be blunt, I did notice that there was, at the beginning, it felt relatable for me as a black person.
Yes.
At the beginning, it felt like, wow, this is like something that's for me as well.
Yes.
And usually Ultra, you know, people will associate it with like white people or whatever. So I think that's a really great initiative, because we need to
I've literally got cold shivers all over my body. That is, I'm so happy to hear you say that, and it's so important for me to hear that. And you know, like when bringing Ultra to South Africa, you know, it came from Miami, it came from this big American US kind of like background, and obviously it's an American product, so to speak, of a festival. And from day one, I said, guys, this is Africa. You know, they're very excited about bringing this US product here, but if we don't Africanize this product, we're dead in the water. This has to be kind of conclusive and like for everybody. And it's been a big goal of mine since day one to change that. And like to your point with this after movie, I really feel that we did it, and it showed in the markets that like came to the festival. You know, so I'm grateful to hear that. And the way that's done is through the music. Again, you know, it was just through the music, really, you know, and just bringing everybody up. To put Black Coffee on the main stage was something that would be unheard of around the world, just because of the style of music he is. It's like, you know, the decision was you can't deny the biggest DJ in this country his audience, irrespective, you know, of the sound might be a bit different. So it was important to do that. And again, just like it comes, that culture is everything. And for me, like, music is the song that just like ties it all together, you know, or the thread.
Yeah, for me, we did go to Ultra, by the way, like a few of us last year, but we were fortunate enough to go before the event, like to see how the whole setup is, and it's I cannot even put it to words. Like, I mean, I was so fascinated by everything, and like how an idea can become such a huge reality. And then having to be there on the night of the event, it was just like, it was super emotional. Like, I mean, as I was sitting there now, I was drawn back to that experience. I remember telling Uyamkela and Onel, I was like, I was crazy. Like, it was, I remember we were there was a friend, and she cried so much, and I asked her, and I was like, why are you crying? And she was like, I can't explain it to you, like this whole, like this vibe, like this emotion, because there was like one thing like Uyamkela mentioned now, there's so much diversity. Like, you get to this place and everyone, the only thing literally that connects everyone is music. And I mean, at first I thought I knew like my preference when it comes to music, but when I got there, like I was like there, like I was literally there. So like there's so much respect to, I have so much respect to like how, you know, how like an idea can become such huge reality. Like, it's just beyond words.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate that, you know, and I think, you know, just to also paint the picture, there was many potholes along the road. Please don't ever think that that was easy to do. Not to say that I didn't love the journey, but it's another lesson I think is important in life in general, be it putting a show or doing anything. You've got to trust the process. But at the end of the day, if you can see a vision and you can see a goal, you just got to go for it, because there was many challenges over the years, obviously, with it, you know. Thank you.
I guess I have a comment and a question. So I'll maybe start with the comment. When I got introduced to dance music, it was through stumbling across a Tomorrowland after movie on YouTube. So watching this after movie is absolutely insane. So my question comes to you as in, how much pressure, or was there any pressure of holding an international standard? Because firstly, this is of international standard.
Totally.
So was there any pressure, and how did you deal with that pressure of now bringing the product to South Africa and still having that African flavor and the South African twist to it, but still maintaining the international status and standard that it should have?
Thank you. Sorry, I have a little frog in my throat. I just want to quickly grab some water. 1 second. Thank you. Great question. And excuse me, guys. Great question. In terms of bringing in a product from the States, obviously where Miami came from, it comes with restrictions. It comes with brand guidelines. At the end of the day, Ultra is a festival that tours around the world, So there's an international touring team that comes with it. There's specific stage designs that we get sent and we work with them to create them. But, when it came down to curating the music, me and my team had carte blanche. And that's where, the blending of like the culture from South Africa came to it. So at the end of the day, we can have this beautiful, massive stage that literally is on par with any stage in the world. We can go toe to toe with anyone, it's that big. But it's the content that you put up on it that's important, So I guess through trust and through, working closely together with my Miami partners and having them understand that the only way that I'm prepared to do Ultra in South Africa is with an African, like South African twist and flavor, even African twist. And that's the only way that the festival will grow, So in terms of keeping up with international profile and standards, from when it comes down to the technical and the production, there is an important way that things get done. You can't just put it together, it comes with a good year of planning. That's how long it takes us to do each show, So when the technical teams come down, they work with our technical teams to make sure that the design of the stage can fit right, that all of the technical elements are there, that in terms of the people running the show are working in a specific way and manner that is of international standard. But when it comes down to curating the music and bringing the melting pot of culture together, we hold the key at the end of the day. So we can have this big elaborate stage, but if we're not giving the people what they want, what's the point? So it's working together in that way. How did COVID affect me? Very, very intensely, to be honest with you. So for me, for example, as COVID struck, or whatever it was, the 15th of March, 2020, around then, and it was kind of made official, I had a big office with 30 people that was like the heartbeat of like all of the stuff that I've spoken about today, and which I was renting, obviously, for many years, good 13 years we were in there. And ironically, at that point, as of the 1st of April last year, it was time for me to renew my lease, And I looked at what was happening around the world. I mean, there was 30 of us in the office, And I said, guys, if I see what's going on around the world, if I'm going to renew this lease for another 5 years, I'm screwed, excuse my language. We're going to have to adapt and adjust to virtual thinking and learning and communicating and all of that stuff. And for me, it was particularly difficult because I'm a tactile person. I need people around me, I guess it's the nature of where I come from in my business. It's been a very challenging time to learn how to take that step into every meeting must be on a Zoom. I just love calling everyone, hey guys, let's have a meeting, let's round it up, because I feel the energy in the room. That's where I feel the energy of things happening. So it's taken me a while to make that transition, which was very difficult. Yeah, I had to, automatically close all my venues, and in so doing that, it was all the different layers of what that became. It was talking to the landlords, for example, to say, guys, like, we need to work together here. You know, this is government saying I can't trade. You know, you've got to give me a break on the rent. And I guess business, like anything else, it comes down to relationships and good relationships. Because if I didn't have good relationships with my suppliers, with my landlords, they could have turned around and been like, sorry, buddy, you owe us the money, there's the contract, you know, and it would have become a legal argument like there were plenty of. But luckily, you know, I'd like to say that I've got good relationships with the people I work with, and that's, for me, super important. So, you know, we managed to bide the time and say, you know, like, look, guys, in terms of the rental for the venues, whilst we're not trading, we'll pay for the lights, we'll pay for the electricity of the things that we use. But if we can't put in a party and we can't sell liquor, you know, I don't want you to lose money as a landlord, but you've got to see where it is that I come from, you know. So it was a lot of negotiating, a lot of the points, and I feel that even over the most difficult of times, you know, to still keep that relationship going there and being honest with the people that you work with, it helps, because as things are slowly and hopefully starting to open up again, it's those strengths and those relationships that'll help you then move forward. So it was a difficult adjustment, and I'm still learning every day, but I'm also of the firm belief that when it does all come back, it's going to be a combination of everything. You know, I mean, same from the virtual world. We did a bunch of like virtual shows, and it was just never the same for me. It was never the same. You know, that just felt strange. You know, on a laptop, like watching a virtual show, you're fighting to get someone's 10-minute attention. It's crazy because you've got a million different windows open. How do you keep up with that? You know, and but we did it, and we learned what that side of the industry is all about, which is booming as well. So I do believe when everything comes back, it'll be a combination of that, be it on how we work and how we meet in physical places and how we can do a Google Meet or a Zoom meeting at the same time. So, yeah, I hope that answers your question.
Did you at some point have to lay off some of your workers, or you managed to kind of keep everyone afloat and you didn't have to?
So it was in terms of, I'm proud to say, excuse me, that I never fired anyone. I never got rid of anyone. You know, it wasn't ever the case, but it was always a case of saying to the guys, look, this is the best that I can do. And if you find another opportunity out there that can support you, because if I was in finance or some other industry that like people didn't get affected at all, it's a different case, you know. But from my side, I said, guys, this is the best that I can do. And what I had to do, you know, I kind of had to bring people's salaries down, you know, to, you know, basically like 75% and then 50%. And just like, guys, that's the fuel in the tank. I was very like open cards with everybody. And at the same time said, please, by all means, if you find a better opportunity, go out there and do it, you know. But at the same time, and some people did. And we've still got great relationships today with those people. So the door was never closed. I support them. I'm proud of them. And that was the best I could do, to be honest with you.
This is a huge festival. So in terms of promoting, what would you give us advice on in terms of the ways of promoting you guys used for such a big festival?
Right.
And ways of advertising that made this festival a success? Yeah.
So over the years, great question. You know, over the years, since we started Ultra, excuse me, guys, marketing has changed so much. 7-8 years ago when we started it, you know, digital, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, social media was there, but it wasn't on the scale that it was today. You know, at that point, we had to spend a lot more money on radio, on TV, on billboards, on flyers, on posters, on physical marketing material, you know. But and that's called the marketing mix, which is important to know. And it's good to understand all of it, from social to digital to film to TV to billboards to outdoor, you know. And it's always good, in my opinion, to have a good mix of everything. So if there's the full pie of marketing, it's good to have your energy into all of it. But as time progressed, what we started to find was that digital slice of the pie just got bigger and bigger and bigger, because that's where everybody is. They're on their phones all the time, you know. And that's how we had to communicate. So digital marketing became a huge play with it. That doesn't go to stop me from doing a deal with the radio station, you know, 5FM and Metro and everybody, we've always had them on as radio partners, because for them, they want the content. They want to be talking about the artist. They want to be giving tickets away. They want to be talking about it. So when you go out there and put it together, you've got great opportunity for them to talk about it. So there's the radio. The same, you can talk, if you're talking to the SABC, you can talk to them about TV deals as well. And then you start talking about bartering deals. You give them X amount of tickets, they'll give you X amount of airtime. But digital and social media is just such a massive part of it, because that's how people communicate, And then it's also just understanding the detail of that how you talk to somebody in Instagram and Facebook, for example, isn't necessarily the same way you're going to talk to them in TikTok or in LinkedIn, for example, So it's important to choose your message and then craft your communication styles differently to to the same audience, but maybe thinking in a different mindset. For example, if you're scrolling through Instagram, you're in a certain mindset, same as TikTok. You're in quite a playful thing. You're looking for, maybe, a good-looking girl or guy, But in LinkedIn, all of a sudden your mindset's changed and you're looking for facts and details. So you mustn't just copy and paste the same content with the same copy in all these different spaces. It's important to do that. Same goes for a billboard or the back of a bus for marketing. At the end of the day, I don't know if you're driving in your car or in your taxi, you've got 10 seconds to see that billboard. Therefore, your message needs to be ultra, date, venue, be there, buy tickets, whatever it is. Whereas opposed to something like a Facebook, you can do a long, detailed post. People are going to read about it and write about it. So it's important to know that to get one message out there into the world can be crafted in so many different ways. And what you need to think is put yourself in your shoes of what your consumer wants. You know that in LinkedIn, your mind is in a different way. So don't give that message out like that. When you're watching TV and you see a 30-second advert, you've got to see high energy like power, and it's got to be video. It can't be a still image. So it's really just understanding the whole marketing mix. And the only way to do that is to just kind of take note of it all, and it's all around you all the time. You guys are consuming media all the time. You are the case studies. We are all the case studies. Does that make sense?
Shaun, I just wanted to ask, so of course you have a big project that you solely focus on, but of course there are other projects that are around you that you focus on too. How do you... I think it's your phone.
It's my phone, sorry. Sorry about that, guy.
No, it's okay. How do you keep the other small, let me not say small, but the other businesses around the big business alive? Because of course you have to juggle and there's a lot of things that you have to take care of. How do you manage that?
So trust and partnerships. Partnerships are key. My personal approach to that is I would rather have a smaller piece of the bigger pie than a big piece of a small pie, if that makes sense, So, and I'm of the belief that you've got to, it's called, I guess I like to use it's horses for courses. I know what I'm good at. I think I know what I'm good at. For me, when it comes to the festivals, curating the music, the marketing, and the sponsorship are spaces that I'm super comfortable in, But put me in the kind of financial hat position or the hard production or the technical side of things. It's not where I honestly gravitate towards. So I trust my partners and my teams to do that. And the energy is guys, this is your space that you are comfortable in. This is where you want to be. Collectively, we have this dream, so let's work on it together. I'm going to focus on this, you're going to focus on that, and together we're going to make this happen. Having said all of that, business is about money as well. So it's important for you to always have a good eye on what's going on, and the devil is in the detail. But that doesn't mean that you can't follow what it is that you love in the business. So trust, I've got a lot of partners, and like I say, my vision of growth, I want to have more and I want to work with more people. And if it means I'm going to have less equity, so to speak, I'm fine with that. You get others that want the whole pie, And from my experience, like they, not to say it doesn't work for some people, but they become over controlling, and like it's very difficult to see out from there, you know? So yeah. But trust, you know what I mean, as well. It's one thing having partners, but you've got to all trust each other. It's everything, you know?
My question is rather on Sook specifically.
On
Sook.
Sook, yeah.
Yeah, so what I wanted to ask is, how difficult was it, or making the decision for the aesthetic change and the culture shift within the place itself, coming from the previous business, which was neighborhood?
Neighborhood, right?
So how difficult was it now deciding on the aesthetic change and the culture shift within what is now going to be the new place, which is now Sook?
It's a great question. I think, again, you know, like from our side, we came from Cocoa and Gold Bar 4 or 5 years before then, and we built up the trust in a culture and market that wasn't really there before in the city, we believe, on that level that it was. And when it got to the stage of us wanting to do more and grow, you know, we looked at our market. We didn't look at neighborhood as a venue to say we want that audience. The intention of going into neighborhood, we always felt like Long Street, you know, will always be like kind of like a main artery, a pinnacle of town. So the space we liked itself. But going in there, it was always about us going in and putting on our own personality. So it was very intentional, the change, very intentional, the shift on what to do, you know. You know, we felt, you know, with the cocoa market, we had a premium, high energy, you know, urban mixed audience, but they were missing the daytime kind of sunset food like trade. So we wanted to find something that works for them, and obviously we wanted something quite close to cocoa. And at the same time, the neighborhood venue was up for sale, or the business, you know, was up, and we saw that as a great location to create Souk. But it was never the idea of we're going to take neighborhood and want that market. We wanted something to change it completely different. So it was always all very strategic in how it got done.
Okay, my name is Yamgela, by the way. And I just wanted to ask, I had quite a few questions, but I think you went through with them. And with what you said about you like being involved in a lot of things, but you don't mind having less equity in. I noticed on your LinkedIn that you're a co-founder in a lot of cases instead of owner, or you know, so
Sure.
like what you said just resonated and kind of came to life.
And on that note, sorry to interject, like it's good to build up everyone around you. You know what I mean? Like it's important that the people that you work with, you've got to build up your team. You've got to build them up, you know. So that's why I don't want to shout from the rooftops, I'm the owner of this and that, and have to feel my partners, for example, feel that they aren't appreciated, you know, because then they won't put their best foot forward into the business.
And then I just wanted to ask, I think, I'm not sure, but is the unit, the alcohol, the liquor distribution?
Cascade. So that's the new business which isn't on here either. So the unit is my holding company, which sits at the top, and then all my businesses feed into the unit. So the unit I own 100% of, but then, for example, Cocoa, I don't own the full 100%. Souk, I don't own the 100%. Ultra, I have 50%. So it's the culmination of those shares that then feed into the 100% of the unit. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Cascade is a new holding company with the liquor distribution that I've opened up, but that'll also fall underneath the unit, of which in Cascade, I also only have X amount of shares because I have partners in those businesses as well.
Okay. And then I wanted to ask about Salute. It says you're part of Salute, Jet
Yes.
Black, and Bella, I think it is.
Yes.
I'm aware that Jet Black is a recording label.
So Jet Black is, so how Jet Black came about, and funny, so Jared Traeger, who runs Jet Black, him and I go through many years, and Jet Black is a booking agency and a record label, so we've got everyone from Shimza, Floyd Levine, Dean Fuel, Bantwanas. I mean, we've got an amazing roster. And what was happening over the time, as I was booking more and more shows, I got to a stage where I was working so closely with Jared and the Jet Black team, and I was like, okay, guys, there's a bigger play here. Let me get involved in the business, of which I did. So I bought into the business and helped them scale it up. So that, again, that ecosystem works together. So when the clubs and the shows come back together, I'm bringing in Jet Black artists into the shows, to build them up. So really just about building everyone up,
Sorry for all the questions.
No, please. I appreciate it.
What is this last one? Yeah, so I wanted to ask, this is just a random question. You were mentioning earlier on about how you started off in bars, etc., and then you elevated. And then you were talking about how you liked communicating because you believe communication with brand and just communication between the culture and the brand, blah, blah. Then you mentioned, I just wanted to know, how does a DJ get sponsored for the night? Does that mean the DJ wears, let's say, Moe is sponsoring the, when you say that getting sponsorship for the DJ, does it mean the DJ's fee is going to be paid by Moe, or does it mean the DJ is going to wear Moe for the day? Or?
There's lots of different ways into how the deal can get structured, but if the DJ, for example, is going to wear clothing by it, they become an ambassador. That's a different deal structure altogether. And more than likely what they'll want them to do is come out with a range of posts, communication, things they need to do on their social media, wear clothes, be at certain engagements, you know what I mean? But if it comes to Moe sponsoring a night at the club, no, the DJ wouldn't need to get dressed up, because they want sales at the end of the day. So, for example, if I've got a whiz kid at Coco, for example, massive artist, and he's just done a big deal with Ciroc, naturally I'm going to get Ciroc to come in and sponsor that night, because they know that whiz kid is there to perform. But when it comes down to his performance as an artist, he has carte blanche. I'm not going to tell that artist what to do, Obviously, I'm going to request, okay, listen, give a shout out to Ciroc on the mic and things like that, But the brands, they want to go to the parties where the hottest DJs are, the hottest performers are, because they know if that's happening and the clubs are popping, then that's where the sales are going to be. And then when it comes down to the marketing and all the stuff you see on Instagram stories and at the end of the day, you've got to see the clubs and the venues and the parties and the DJs as shopping windows for these brands. It's if you're walking down the waterfront and you walk past that Diamond Mile, whatever it is, and you see Gucci and all these fancy stores, you're well, wow, look at all of that, You got to almost see your phone as that for these brands. Because if these brands are going to show up at those clubs with that DJ, and all of you guys are going to get on your phone and look at it, automatically your view of that brand is automatically or elevated, So there's different deals and different structures on how those types of things get done. A good manager, can kind of help, but good managers come when the product is ready. You've got to really. Sorry, guys. Oh, what's going on here? You've got to be the artist that you need to be first and foremost. And again, it kind of goes back to that thing of not chasing the money. So when you're ready to step out into the world and you've got your socials ready as an artist, you've got music ready as an artist, you've got a look, you've got a bio, you've got things written up, you've got to treat yourself as a product at the end of the day, And don't let you're a product, man. That's it, guys. You are a product. You've got to be proud of your product, and only you know your own personality of the product, So, if a brand's going to come to you and say, wear this, you'll be hold up, you know what? Actually, it doesn't suit my profile. There's nothing wrong with saying no to the right things, to the wrong things. It's just look, with all due respect, you know what I mean? If a campaign comes along for, I don't know, a brand that just doesn't sit well with you, or it goes against animal rights or something that you don't agree with, you don't have to do that. You're not compelled to. But that's why the stronger your product is, the stronger you are as a brand, naturally, the right opportunities will gravitate to you, and therefore it will be up to you to make those right choices and take it from there.
Okay, just one more.
Not at all. Please.
I was surprised the other day when I heard that as a promoter, you plan and you have this idea and you are the one that kind of puts the dots together of what you think needs to be organized to make the final picture. But I didn't know that promoters hire production companies to do the actual work. So I wanted to ask you, when did you start actually hiring a production company? Did you start off doing everything like with yourself and a team, etc., etc.?
So much like what happened with Jet Black, the same thing happened with Salute. So we were doing all the shows, and I was working very closely with a couple of team members who were from other production companies, and I just got very close to them. And then eventually I got to a stage that we formed our own business together called Salute. And Salute is the production company. So once again, like having that kind of like full ecosystem of things working together, I own a piece of Salute. However, I'm not a production guy. They run the production, So again, it's elevating people up to be a bigger part of something and giving them the keys to the car, so to speak, to run, with what they're good at and what they love at, but all sharing in the passion and the goal to get that in the end,
If you want to listen to these conversations live and have access to this incredible community, you can join us at our physical campus, the Bridges Academy in Langa, South Africa. A revolutionary learning space where you will find courses on music, entrepreneurship, film, DJing, and much more. For more information on how to apply, visit bridgesacademy.org.
Wow. I just want to know who came up with the name Sook and what does the name Sook mean?
Sook, okay, so names are an interesting thing, and I'll get back to it. So I've always, so Coco, my daughter's name is Coco. Bella Bookings, which is our booking agency, that's my other daughter's name. So I've always been one to kind of like name ones after the family. Anything Goes came about from just like the style of music, and I was just like anything goes, kind of like party stuff. And there was actually also a Masters at Work radio show from about 20 years ago called that. So I enjoy good names. Salute came about from clinking your drinks together, as in salute, Cascade came together as in because it's like the flow of liquid, so that's like the idea of it, From Coco, and also the idea of Coco of just mixing culture, black, white, whatever, was always something that I always wanted to be a part of, The next came Gold Bar, and Gold Bar, just because the size of it, it like worked in relation with Coco. And then Leander, my partner in Coco, came up with the name Souk. The intention of Souk was like an African marketplace. That was the literal translation of it, So we did it with our own twist, because I think in like Mediterranean countries, you think souk, it may have like a different connotation in your mind, but we just love the direct translation of African marketplace, colorful, and that's translated into our own identity, so to speak of it, But it's a great question, because what goes into a name? What goes into a brand? It's so important, And it's so important to know, what goes into that brand name. You've got to put so much into it. It's not just a matter of coming up with a cool name. Let me just come up with a cool name. What is the identity around it? What is the feeling of it? So, that's the Souk story.
Okay. So Shaun, okay. First question is, you were in Miami and you saw the whole Ultra experience. And from there, you had the idea to bring it here. So, how do you practicalize an idea? Like, how do you make it practical? Like, what were the first steps that you took? Because we always see the the final product, but we never know, you had the idea, who did you call? What was the first meeting? Basically, the practical,
process.
The practicalities and the process of it.
So, again, it's, excuse me, organically in the industry over the 20 years that it took me to get there, it's a matter of building up your name and building up what it is that you do in your industry as a promoter, as a businessman or woman, and it's about the company you keep and the connections that you make and the relationships that you have with people. So when it got to Ultra, before Ultra, we were touring all the big artists, Swedish House Mafia, Skrillex, all of these guys, you know? And in so doing all of that, what happens behind the scenes, behind those DJs standing on the stages, you know, there's production people, there's production teams, and those people are the backbones. Those people are the ones that like make the whole shows tick, you know? So through the touring of these artists, we met all these wonderful people, you know, in the background, and they were the ones, in fact, it was, one of the heads of productions of the shows, they came to us and said, you know, you guys have been doing such great shows with single artists, you should bring Ultra to the country because Ultra is looking at expanding around the world. And then, you know, when we had the conversation, it was about taking the franchise for Africa, and that's what we did. So it didn't happen quickly, you know, it happened over many, many years of negotiations, and but it happened because we all shared like in the same common goal and vision of bringing the show to the country at the end of the day.
You have these connections and these good relationships with everyone that you have them with. Like how did you go about building and creating those relationships? Like, you know, like how did it happen?
I think it's putting yourself out there and putting your best foot forward, being proud of who you are, knowing what it is that you want to do and what you want to establish. I think it's also important to do your research as to who's who in the zoo, so to speak, and do your best to get to those people. Have conversations with them. You'd be surprised how easy it is to DM someone on Twitter, for example, and just be like, hey, listen, I appreciate what it is that you do, and it'll be cool to learn some more from you, so to speak. You know, don't be scared to put yourself out there, you know, and how you position yourself. Hey, what up? I'm a DJ. You know, I mean, I've seen a lot over the years, and some, you know, the messages I get, I can smell the bullshit, excuse the language. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, this guy's just trying to hack a gig, you know, for someone. But like, if you genuinely, you can hear it, you know, it's like, hey, what's up? You know, this is my story. It doesn't need to be a long, lengthy story, but like, you know, I appreciate you, and, you know, just give me some guidance. You'd be surprised. We're all people at the end of the day, you know? So do your research on who you want to connect with. Try to find your ways to connect with them. And with the advent of like social media, which I grew up, none of that stuff, you know? It's so much easier. The layers are right there. They're on our phones. We can talk to each other in 1 minute, you know? So, yeah, I think that's the best
Very last question. Like, when would you provide a free service, and who would you provide it to/for? And yeah.
I mean, you know, anytime, you know, if the intention is right, and, you know, it depends on what obviously it needs to. It's quite a loaded question. Not saying I wouldn't mind. I'm happy to give my service anytime, but it's got to. The intention needs to be pure. You know what I mean? Like, if I'm not just going to do it for the sake of doing it, but I'm here to share. You know what I mean? So I guess it depends on what it is that you're looking for and how I can assist. But how authentic is the request, and is it something that I can genuinely help with? I will do it with absolute pleasure, so to speak. You know?
Got
Yeah.
you. Thank you.
Cool.
I would like to ask, because you are a board member of Bridges for Music, has that opened many doors for you?
Look, many doors. It's to all of your lives, for one. You know what I mean? It's, you know, in all the projects that I'm involved in, to be honest with you, like, I love Bridges dearly, you know, and I really do, you know, and I love, I mean, it's such a proud moment walking in here and looking at you guys and seeing this all built up from, you know, when it was just like an idea, you know, 10 years ago, whenever it was, in terms of the opportunities for me, opportunity is not money always, if you know what I mean. And, you know, it's the opportunity is, you know, if there's great opportunity that I can meet some wonderful people and I can help them and they can help me be a better person, that's a great opportunity, you know. I think what's been a great opportunity with Bridges for me specifically, because a lot of my work has been working with international artists and managers and brands like that, it's been nice to work from the inside of Bridges, so to speak, and be connected to some of the international partners that we have, from Resident Advisor through to Pioneer. So, you know, that's been great. But it's not like I'm looking for money for them. It's human connection, you know. So those are the opportunities which I'm grateful for.
When clubs are open again, may all of us perform at your club.
You got to cut the mustard, my friend. I will, you know, show me what you got. With pleasure. You know, I want to see a mix. I want to see a link. I want to see a profile. You know what I mean, guys? I'm here to help. But I also need to do the best for my business. And therefore, I need the best to come through. So, you know what I mean? Like, will I do a favor for you? Maybe. But if you're going to come correct and be like, listen, this is me. This is my best foot forward. Here's my link. Here's my profile. You know, I've got even, you know, like, here's my bio. Like, here are all my links. You know, all my social media stuff. Like, show me that you've got what it takes. It doesn't mean you have to have it. We can help groom you, you know. But if it's going to be like, yo, like, give me a DJ set and you haven't made any efforts, why should I make the effort for you if you haven't made an effort for the industry that I've worked my whole life in? You know? So, yeah. Hey? Details, yeah. You can Shaun at anythinggoes.co.za, guys. You can all hit me up whenever. SHAUN.
Can we spell Shaun?
Actually, you know what? Use my unit one. So it's Shaun, SHAUN, at theunit.group, GROUP. The group. Unit. Sorry, so it's at theunit.group. So this, at theunit.group, yeah.
Hi, Shaun. My name is Dukes. And it's good to have you here.
Thank you.
And I'm glad my friend over here, Dlamini, asked the question, because he's the best when it comes to production and DJing.
Great.
So
Great.
I was so happy when he asked that question. That means he's ready to put out great music there and perform. So I so wish that he can be given that platform, because he's
Absolutely.
Great. Yes.
What kind of music are you playing and making? Great. That's great.
And he's an amazing producer, I tell you.
Amazing. I can put you in touch with Jared from Jet Black. Send me the details. Send me your productions. I can put you in touch with Jared. Send me the DJ mixes. I can put you in touch with Leander and Taffy, you know.
And an amazing vocalist over there. But
Fantastic.
You just need to give them time.
I mean, you guys have got more than I've ever had in terms of what's around you. You've got an incredible, like, production studio next door. You've got an incredible, like, minds around you here. Guys, like, you know, like, you've got it. You've just got to want it and put it out there, you know. So if you're a great vocalist, fantastic. But, like, I mean, that means, with all due respect, I can trust everyone here. But I'm just going to put you up on stage. Not yet. I need to see, I need to feel, I need to hear it out, you know. So I'll help you guys wherever I can. But no matter how much I help you, if you're not ready, you're not going to get to where you want to be, you know. So you've got to, just do the best that you can.
Thank you so much for the opportunity.
Pleasure.
For giving my brothers and sisters the opportunity. What I just saw now, it is amazing, the Ultra. And yesterday, Valentino asked us a very profound question as this intake of co-creators after Bridges for Music, how are we gonna make money?
Yes.
And I had already had the answer. I've been brainstorming ideas and asking the question that I'm about to ask right now. I'm about to ask the question because I want us as this intake after Bridges to be business partners of some sort, not just musicians and producers and all that, but I see us as Bridges for music intake as business partners, if you get what I mean, because we have your marketing team here, we have people who are good at this and that, and the other thing is that I'm also into events, so I've been doing events for like 4 years, but small events like in Stellenbosch we have a stadium there that we usually use. It caters for 10,000 people.
Amazing.
So I was planning for us as this intake to sort of make maybe 2 events a year. 1 event and 1 2-day festival, if that's possible.
Amazing.
So I kind of ask you to mentor us as this intake, to find sponsors for our first event. He's the DJ, he's the R&B tag, he's the vocalist. We can take half of our performers here with one national artist so that we can attract the crowd to buy tickets. Some of them, they can perform the first half, and then on the second event, the half of this group here can also be as local artists to perform, opening the stage for the national artists that we can have. So as we were doing events over the past 4 years, we were struggling to get some sort of solid funding. We've approached quite a lot of sponsors as Distel. They provided us your deco, your branding, and the biggest amount that we ever got was like 30,000 rand to hijack Zakes Bantwini. So he's the biggest artist that we've ever booked so far. And we've booked Mpumi, we've booked Professor. Now I kind of ask you to help us open those doors, to help us give us the practical side so that we can have our first event, because Valentino asked us how are we going to make money, and then I suggested this idea that I've been planning for over 4 weeks now. So can you help us maybe get one sponsor that can book us the artist, the national artist? It doesn't have to be the biggest like your Ultra, but we do have a stadium in Stellenbosch that caters for 10,000 people. We can make our first event, and then we can cut percentages as to how to pay ourselves, because I'm working with my business partner and we have a company called Ndawoyam Entertainment. But now it will be our company in partnership with that company that I already work with, meaning we're going to cut the percentages. We're going to fairly pay ourselves as a company of this intake. So is that possible for you to maybe speak on our behalf on your sponsors and get the artist?
I love how forward you are. I love the energy. You are a promoter through and through, my friend. I mean, and let me tell you, that is gold. And, it sounds like you're already there. It sounds like you're doing it, which is unbelievable. And, the reality is that I can try and help connect. I can't guarantee. And there's no shortcut in how to do it.
Yes,
you're already doing it.
Yes.
And you've just got to, when the brands start taking notice of you, of what it is that you can do and what it is that you can achieve, the more money will come, the more energy will come, Unfortunately, the problem with sponsors and events right now, there's no line of sight because of COVID. I can tell you now that all of the big brands, from the Budweisers through to the Coronas, through to the Diageos, no one is spending money on events for this year, unfortunately, because of the potential PR backlash that until government allows us to do shows, if someone comes and if Budweiser or Castle or Black Label comes and sponsors one of your events, and all of a sudden 20,000 or 10,000 people arrive, 5,000 people get COVID, 1,000 pass on to their grandparents, they die, it's a backlash they don't want to be a part of. So financially getting sponsorship is very, very difficult at the moment,
100%.
And what you need to know from my side, sponsors, without doing sponsored shows, it's very difficult to make money, but it's possible, if you've got the numbers there. So my suggestion is continue doing what you're doing, but grow small and build up your business model, that you can work, and build up your market at the same time. Because a 10,000 capacity show legally with sponsors, I don't see it happening for another year. Hopefully I'm wrong. Maybe Cyril comes tonight on TV and says, COVID's over. I don't think so. In order for that to happen, it's got to be herd immunity. 96 or 70% of the population needs to be vaccinated. You know, we're looking at about a year to make that happen. But having said that, he has given us some light to say we can do shows for 250 and 500 people. So the thing is, the beauty of social media and smart marketing and digital content is king, guys. You could do a party for 250 people, right? Shoot it, edit it. You guys have got all the equipment here, and make it look like a beautiful, hot 1 minute after movie, like this on a different scale, right? Then you take that to the brands. Hey guys, these are the parties we're doing for 250 people, right? Because it's a small show, I need 10,000 Rand to make the show happen. With that 10,000 Rand, it's going to be super exclusive because we're only allowed 250 people. You know, and this we're going to get, I don't know, Zakes or whoever it is, you know, okay, no, that another artist, okay, that fits within that budget. The brands will understand it, but it's not always about the artist. It's about the content. And if you make a hot video from that, they're like, wow, that's hot. And then as Cyril starts to open up for 500 people, you go back to that same sponsor, be it, I don't know, you know what I mean? Someone who's also happy to play within that space. Say, right, guys, we're allowed 500 people now. You gave me 10 grand then, I need 20 grand now, you know, or 30 grand now. And you just start building. And it's trust and relationship. No, there's no sponsors out there just looking, waiting to throw money around. Yes. You're in the perfect position to build up your brand, your relationship, and your product, and your trust. And only you can do that. I can help guide, but I don't sit in any kind of position. I wish I did with a sponsor that said, look, Shaun, here's money lying around. Tell me who wants it, because that's not how it works.
Okay. Can we send you our vision and our plan when we are done, so that you can go through it and let us know? And if possible, if you do want to have a meeting with us again and explain where we've missed it, you can freely do so. Can we do that? Can we email you?
Sounds fantastic. I'd love that.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. How are you, man?
My name is Bonati. The question that I want to ask you, I heard that you are also like on a management side. So I just want to know what it takes or what is needed in order to be signed on Jet Black management, because I know that Jet Black management is one of the biggest management, is one of the biggest management. So I believe as a DJ or an artist, you need to have a manager in order to get a gigs or an event. So what I want to ask, what do you look for? What are you actually looking on a person so that you can order to sign him on Jet Black Music?
So, do you make your own music?
But I'm not. I'm only teaching. I'm just a DJ. I'm a DJ. Yeah.
You're a DJ. Okay. Have you got content? Have you recorded yourself DJing? Have you got mixes?
Yeah, I do have mixes on SoundCloud. Yeah.
Have you got a following? Following. You know.
Yeah, I do have followings.
Yeah. So at the end of the day, now it comes down to business, right? When it comes down to business on Jet Black as a booking agency or in a management company, they want artists who are going to make the business money. It can't only work the other way around. They just expect to go with Jet Black and they're just going to turn on the money for you. It doesn't work like that. They've got the relationships, but the venue, you know what I mean? You've got to have some presence so that it's a partnership. That's how you've got to view it. If you're going to say, look, currently I am selling out venues of 200 to 300 people, and I've got a good following, and every time I put a Facebook post up, people comment on it. They're like, yo, we want to see you here, we want to see you there, we want to see you there. Then Jet Black has got something to work with, because their business growth is much broader than that. So from the booking agency's perspective, they want artists who are already working on themselves and have made something, What I'm going to do, I'm going to bring Jared in from Jet Black, and I'm going to get him to do a course similar like this, if you like that. There you go. There you go. There you go.
Hi, Shaun.
Hi.
So, having been around artists and recruitment, like on a broader basis, before you book an artist, what do you look for? Like, what I'd say the criteria or the basis of judgment for you to decide that this artist will be great for the festival or will be great for the event? What sort of goes behind that?
So, curating a lineup is very important for me on a festival basis, you know. You get different dance, the way I curate Ultra, for example, or Corona, or those type of festivals, different dance floors have got different sounds. That's the way I see it, you know. But that's not to say that one dance floor can't have a mix of all different sounds. For me, musically, I like to progress from kind of like as the crowd kind of builds up, you know. Normally, at the end of the show is when there's the most energy and people are excited there. So therefore, I get my biggest artist right at the end, you know. It's for him to be like, I want people to walk out and be like, bang, wow, what a night, you know. That's on a festival scale. So the progression to get there is what's important, you know. And sometimes at the beginning of the slot, beginning of the day, you know, I want to be able to use that time slot as an opportunity for artists to come in and kind of, what's the word, show off what they've got as, it's almost an open time slot for them to build up new talent, get them comfortable with the stage, It's good for them to have a following. So if they can even if they bring 50 of their friends to come and watch them perform, and then we build up the music kind of sonically from there, in terms of, it's important to have a good mix, I found, of female and males on stage as well, musically it's important to progress there. Like, I don't want too many of the same artists' styles musically, to be perfectly honest with you, like the Gom style, for me, not that I'm not the biggest fan, but I couldn't program 6 hours of that music. It's just too much of the same. Same as I'm a piano, 6 hours of it is just too much. But the second that you start mixing, a bit of I'm a piano there, a bit of house there, a bit of Gom there, a bit of live music here, is when you start to tell the story of that festival lineup. Because as a consumer, as a punter, as a kid going out to a party, you look at the lineup and you're like, wow, look at all these different names that are there, So you've got to tell that whole story. How I choose someone, the artist needs to be out there. You've got to have social media presence. You've got to be putting out new music. You've got to put yourself out there. Because if you're waiting for somebody in the music industry to just come out there and make your life for you, you've chosen the wrong career path. That's the reality,
Hi, Shaun. My question is, I noticed in the Ultra there are different stages. Mm-hmm. I would like to know what's the idea behind
the different stages and the different styles of music. So the Ultra main stage historically has been focused on more and globally, the big EDM styles of music, which is more stadium dance music, if for lack of a better phrase. It's all big build-ups, big EDM energy type of thing, Resistance, for example, was started out in Miami, and that's more techno and house music. Because what you start to find is that different cultures gravitate towards different styles of music, And that's why it was always important for us to give everybody a piece of it, because as Ultra was getting bigger and bigger, as opposed to people just coming to the festival and enjoying the experience, people wanted to hear deep house, they wanted to hear techno, they wanted to hear upcoming artists. So we started creating, different dance floors for them with those sounds, And I mean, in Miami, there's a bass floor, there's a drum and bass floor, there's a, eventually I'd love to be in a position to have even more multiple floors, but at the same time I like the idea of blending everybody together. But with Ultra, for an example, in this country, in Cape Town's a good example, it's a good blend to have the main stage, which is the big EDM sound, which is all about the massive fireworks, the big energy, the big drops, the big builds, the big, all of that. But the essence of the resistance and techno and house music is more, minimal lighting, sexier, darker, that type of feeling, So the music is always indicative to the way that it's presented as well, you know? And then also like a live stage, you know, it's important to have the live performance stage as well, because you've got a whole bunch of live artists who are not necessarily DJs who want to perform just in a live space. And as a live music consumer, you know, you want to go and watch. It's similar to what I was saying about the difference between like an Instagram to LinkedIn communication tool. You know, if you're going to a festival and you're going to a DJ stage, you know you're going to dance because that's what it's all about. But if you're going to go to like a live stage, you're going to stand around, you're going to sing along, you're going to interact with the artist. So it's a different mentality again, you know?
Hi, Shaun. What I want to know is in club owner. So what I want to know is how do an instrumentalist or a percussionist get to play in a club?
Percussionists, amazing. Look, team up with the DJ. Team up with a DJ that's close around you. You don't necessarily have to have your own tracks yet. Excuse me. Do something that's cool and marketable on social media. Get someone to film it and edit it and put it up online at the end of the day. You know, and just push yourself out there to different clubs and different promoters. You know, much like anything, find out where your best DJ is playing and connect with him. Do your way to get hold of him on social media and say like, yo, listen, you know, I'm a percussionist. I'm just trying to like get into the game. Would you mind if I came and brought like my kit and like played with you at this gig? Get somebody to come in and film it. You know, and use that as a marketing tool, as a business card to get more work from there, you know?
Thank you for listening. I hope you enjoyed this podcast as much as we do making them. Remember, if you'd like to attend any of these workshops live, enroll in any of our upcoming programs. To support the work we do, you can find more information on bridgesformusic.org. Please don't forget to subscribe, as we'll be bringing new inspiring conversations soon. Until next time, keep safe.